All right, Fernal Blessings. All right, I just finished exercising, so a little bit sweaty. So I'm going to shoot this video before we do quick announcements. First and foremost, let me start putting that first since we're getting close. The 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. That is in full effect. You can sign up and register for that now. It's a 4-day event with the meet and greet October 19th to the 22nd. Meet and greet on the 19th. Classes and workshops and rituals on the 20th and the 21st. And the 22nd, I finished the event. I'll be doing a Q&A session from noon to 4 p.m. A question and answer on anything you want to talk about or discuss about the occult. And I'll have something special prepared for that too, just so you know. You could also attend virtually, and that gives you access to the classes and workshops on the 20th and the 21st and the 22nd. Okay. Either way, you can shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to sign up and register for the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, which will take place in Hollywood, Florida, minutes from Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, minutes from the beaches, minutes from hotels, restaurants, Airbnbs. As I said before, over the years, people have come and just Ubered it around or lifted it around. Unless you want to rent a car and you want to see other sites, you got other plans. But I have this location for a reason, to make it as convenient as I can, so it's accessible to get around. Everything we do is within those parameters. So hope to see some newer people there this year, in addition to the people that are returning. Some of you guys have been coming 5 years straight, and this will be your 6th straight year. Some years have come and attended most of them. Shoot me an email, I'll send you that info. Also, if you're interested in signing up for the classes that I do offer, the way to do that is to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, if you join Tier 3 on Patreon, that gives you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, in addition to the ritual we do together as a group at the end of the month. If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different readings: telepathic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which that's a great thing to do at any time, especially if you're looking for purpose and direction and what you should be doing in the moment. Deity readings to see what spirits, demons, gods, and goddesses walk with you. Send me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how you can book a reading or a consultation. But please also include, to save time, the time zone that you live in, because as I said, I deal with people in all time zones within the United States, overseas, Africa, Europe, all these different places. It just makes it easier for me to get back to you quick with a schedule, rather than respond back with your availability and what time zone you're in. So if you're really serious about booking the reading, you want to go right into it, just send me also in your email the days and times you are available and the time zone that you live in. It just speeds up the process and saves the back and forth, right? Also keep in mind, all of this new content is now being uploaded. All of it is available also on the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms, okay? The direct link to the podcast, along with my contact email address and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes, all of that is in the description box of this video that you are watching right now. All right, so I wanted to talk about, because I pulled it out today, that was my inspiration. Let's talk about the scarab beetle and the concept of Khepera on the left-hand path, the path of the occult, etc. And what really how we look at it from an esoterical occult perspective, what the scarab beetle represents for us. As we know, the scarab beetle, you'll see sometimes on different hieroglyphics in the walls in the pyramids in ancient Egypt, in some of the texts, you will see this scarab beetle. The scarab beetle is very unique in the sense of what it represents. It can procreate on its own. It rolls its own dung, and it ties into the aspect of what we call on this path Khepera or remanifestation, right? Khepera or Khepera or Khepere, you will see also is an aspect of the sun god Ra or Re. You'll see it sometimes with the solar disk and the beetle. You'll see these symbols intertwined. And really what it really represents to us as black adepts, magicians, occultists, whatever you want to refer to it as, it really represents remanifestation. Khepera. Some say Khepera. It just depending on how it's written and the pronunciation. And that essentially is your goal on this path, to remanifest the new you, right? For you to strip away all these illusionary aspects of yourself, the false aspects of your ego, these false identities that you have picked up along the way in this journey that you are on, called life, right? The whole purpose is for you to remanifest yourself. Now, Khepera is not something you can just force to happen. You have continual moments of Khepera, continual states of awareness, awakening. Some sometimes refer to it as a DNA explosion. It's some that thing some label the aha moment, right? These are all moments of Khepera or remanifestation or higher levels of awareness, your psyche awakening. But as a whole, when we look at the symbol of the scarab beetle, we look at that symbol and it represents remanifestation. To remanifest something, right? Obviously, there was something there already. And that's the old you, the illusionary you. That's what you've been working on when you've stepped onto this path. When you, as I've said, when you've said what you're doing, as I've said many times before, you're coming on this path and you're coming before these gods and goddesses, demons and spirits. And you're saying, take me apart. Destroy me so I can build it all back up correctly. So your constant goal as you're on this path, obviously, is to improve yourself, to get a higher understanding, to uncover the hidden gnosis about yourself, about the spirit world, about life and death. That's your goal. That's what you're trying to accomplish, right? So this whole ongoing journey is part of that journey or that quest for remanifestation. Now, the scarab beetle itself, if you do research on this insect, as I said, it is very unique in the sense that it can reproduce on its own. It rolls its own dung. And all of those tie into everything in regards to remanifestation, right? It's almost like they say in religion, and it's kind of where they get the term, because that's an occult concept, to being reborn, right? And when you look at that term, let's just say in religion and the Bible, when you read that quote that when Jesus was teaching, he said to the people, in order for you to obtain the kingdom of heaven, you must be born again like a little child, or be like the little children. He didn't literally mean that you physically needed to be reborn. He used the reference to the children because children at a young age aren't indoctrinated like we are as adults. That reference was being made because when children are young and innocent, their minds are more pure and they're not indoctrinated like we are as grown, fucked up adults, right? From a more deeper occult perspective, being remanifestation is almost kind of along the line in that concept of what they tried to convey in monotheistic religions as being reborn. Meaning, at one point, you didn't have this knowledge, this awareness, understanding, this truth. Now you do. Now, as I said many times before, there's a responsibility that comes along with having knowledge and truth. One, you're upheld to a certain standard, right? You don't have the excuses anymore that you can use as far as I didn't know. You don't get those passes of ignorance anymore because you don't have that crutch to lean on that I didn't know. So being aware and having the knowledge is a responsibility. And then once you have it, this remanifestation process can start to take place, right? Now, the scarab beetle in relationship to the hidden sun, right? And I've talked about this before, right? There's an aspect, we know the different aspects, for example, the main three aspects of the triad of Ra or Re, right? In his forms of Atum, Amun, and Atun, right? Which represent the so-called 3 points of movement of the sun. The rising of the sun, which we know it doesn't really rise. The earth just rotates on its axis and it wobbles when it does, so it tilts. So as it makes that rotation, it creates the illusion, depending on what part of the globe you live on, or part of the world you live on. At some points, as the earth makes that rotation, your side of the planet is being blocked out by the other side, creating what appears to be darkness. And when you're facing in a direct path of the sun, it creates what we call daylight hours. So the sun never really rises or sets. That's just symbolic, right? We know it's always there. It's just the earth rotates on its axis on a slight tilt or wobble, creating the illusion there's light and darkness, and creating the illusion of a rising and a setting, right? We know that's not true, right? It's basic science. But the positioning of the triad of Ra Re represents those 3 points that the sun appears to be in the sky. The rising of the sun at its highest point of the zenith, and then the so-called setting of the sun, right? But there's a fourth stage between the rising or the setting that an individual, it's hard to explain, it happens really in the moment of a blink of an eye. Now, I've said this before, if you've ever watched, a sun rise or set, at what moment does it appear or disappear? It happens in a blink of an eye. But the moment in between that point of so-called light and darkness is where the mysteries of Khepera or Khepera exist, right? It's also known, an aspect of it known as the hidden sun, right? It's the same thing when we look at, for an example, if you take temperature, right? If you use a thermometer, at what point does it go from above freezing to below freezing temperature, above Fahrenheit, below Fahrenheit, right? It happens in a moment. It happens. We know it does. We know it transitions. But how do we pinpoint the moment that happens? Okay? And as I said, it's not something you could put a time frame on. It's not something you can gauge. It's just something you tap into the moment. And that's the hidden aspect of the mysteries of Khepera, right? Because in essence, that's where you're trying to get. As I said, you're vibrating between two existences simultaneously. For lack of a better words, to put it in simplistic kindergarten terms, the hidden, the seen, invisible world, and the hidden and the unseen world. Right? And that's just a metaphor to describe the spirit world and the physical world. And you're constantly fluctuating and vibrating back and forth between both. To truly understand Khepera, one must go into the hidden mysteries of the unseen world. Whether you call that the astral plane, astral realms, this is how you get true hidden gnosis of self, and this is how you start to transform and become who you're truly destined to be. This is now how the true personal daemon, the true higher self, is now able to merge and give you that correct guidance, awareness, and communication. Some call this, like in Crowley's teachings, the holy guardian angel, right? We call it either an Egyptian Heka, the Agatho daemon, or the personal daemon, which basically is the same thing, right? Now the true you can emerge. You can't really obtain those states of Khepera while you're still trapped in all the illusionary aspects of yourself, and you're being guided by the weak, destructive parts of your ego, right? As we said before, all ego isn't bad. We've talked about that many times before. Your ego is what protects you, right? So it's not all bad. That's not true. But there are very destructive parts of your ego that can create aspects of destruction. So there's a lot of hidden breakdowns, esoterical occult meanings to the scarab beetle, the Khepera. And again, there's more. But again, these are short tutorials, right? We're not going to do these too long. Yeah, something I've done in my work over the years, I've connected, obviously, this spiritual understanding of Khepera to working with Set. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? As I've said before, on my black magic altar, on my main altar where I do work, I have a couple statues or images of Set, but my one main statue of Set, at the base of that statue, I keep a scarab beetle. Okay, and as I said before, I've set up my altars in a specific method, including, geometrically, the whole nine. I do it specifically for a reason. So when I'm at my altar and I'm focusing on my icon or statue of Set, the first thing I see is when I gaze at it, at his feet, is the scarab beetle, excuse me. Okay? Because to me, and it's a concept I connect with in my meditation and my ritual work, especially with working with Set. To me, as I've said before, everybody's always, describing Set as the great god of chaos and destruction, the god of, the desert and the storms and et cetera, which that's true. But again, as I've said before, what they don't follow it up with, he also makes order out of that chaos and destruction. When you connect with him in your spiritual work, when you truly start to understand who and what Set is and how he operates, he's referred to as the god of chaos and destruction because when you start to connect with the energy of Set or the Set current, it's going to automatically bring a bunch of your bullshit to the surface you've been avoiding. So look at Set as that great, elder or teacher that's gonna pull everything up outside of you. Your fears, your weaknesses, this, that, and the other, and he's gonna force you to face them and master them. So that's why he's given that title of the god of chaos, destruction, and confusion, because that's his methodology of going to work on an individual. Now, as I said before, that sometimes can be very, very intense. Okay? But it's part of the process of being on this path, like a lot of other deities. It's a lot. You deal with a lot when it comes to levels of change. But what greater archetype to connect with in that understanding of the mysteries of the scarab beetle and remanifestation? Because once Set is done destroying those things in your life that rightfully so need to be destroyed, he then goes to work in bringing that harmony and reconstruction. So that's a reminder for me personally, in my own personal connection with the scarab beetle and the Egyptian deity Set, or Satuk, or Set, or however you want to pronounce it. Okay? In my opinion, the two go hand in hand. Okay? They're strongly connected, and there's a lot of hidden gnosis in that understanding. Okay? To me, it's always stood out. So, this is why at my altar, at the base of the foot of Set, I keep the scarab beetle, because he is the true representation of the hidden mysteries of the scarab, and he's the true personification of remanifestation or Khepera. Okay? And it's why in that form of the mask of the adversary, he is a key component of who we connect with, in our work and what we do. Okay? Now, granted, there's more, but again, for the sake of time, we're not trying to do these videos. These are short tutorials. As I said, when I go on and do my lives, that's when I get a little bit more in depth, which as of the recording of this video, if you didn't catch it, I did a live last night. Just basically an open discussion on occult science. If you didn't see that video and you're watching this one, that video posted last night. It was a live stream, YouTube. So catch it. Now, one thing I want to say real quick before I wrap this video up. And this is not just for my channel, because I always get emails on and off throughout the years about this also. People say, I subscribe to the channel and I hit the notification bell and I don't get all your notifications. Keep in mind, and it's not just my channel, this is anybody's channel. Whatever YouTube channel you subscribe to, including mine, after you subscribe to the channel, don't just hit the notification bell. Also, click it again till that drop-down menu comes, and make sure you have checked all notifications, because if it's not checked, this is why you might be getting some and some you don't. That's for anybody's channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell drop down menu and make sure you have all notifications highlighted, and you should for the most part be all right. But I've heard people say they still have problems, but I just want to rule that part out first. Make sure you're doing that first. All right. Well, again, that's basically, I just wanted to run through a quick tutorial of the scarab beetle, Khepera Remanifestation, and how it's connected and relates to Satuk, Seth, or Set. All of these things. There's more I can go in and discuss, but this is just something quick I kind of wanted to run through and give you guys a quick breakdown on. All right. Again, other than that, if you need to, again, sign up for the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference here in Hollywood, Florida, from October 19th to the 22nd. Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. I will send you that information. If you want to sign up for the classes I do offer, the way to do that is to go to the Patreon page of Primordial Chaos, which is patreon.com/Baniti, BANITI, Tier 3. That gives you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon for Patreon members only. And it also gives you access to the group ritual we do at the end of the month. Now, keep in mind, when you do join the Patreon page, you not only get access to the classes from the day you join moving forward, you also have access to all the classes in the archive, which is quite a bit of content. Trust me when I tell you. And I cover pretty much most topics you can think about. We have ongoing series on Luciferian magic and self-mastery. We have classes on telepathic sorcery, shadow work classes, Kundalini meditation and awakening classes, Sith classes, ancient Egyptian vampiric classes. We have a Norse mythology and left-hand path rune class. The list goes on. Esoterical occult Bible study class. You'll see everything that's on there. There's mentorship tiers on there. But again, as I said before, if you sign up for a mentorship program with me, please make sure you have the time to devote and put in the work. I don't want to waste your time, and please don't waste my time. I just don't have that time to waste right now. All right? If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, again, my email is in the description box of this video. The direct link to the Patreon page is also in the description box of this video. The direct link to the Primordial Chaos podcast is also in the description box of this video that you are watching right now. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys on the next video. Infernal blessings.